Hello, world, and welcome to Roll and Keep, and welcome to our playtest of Tales of Xadia, the official TTRPG for Netflix's and Wonderstorm's The Dragon Prince, all powered by Cortex Prime. Who's playing? My amazing cast, who just before the show started chiding me for being unprofessional, which I will certainly take out on them throughout play today. You can bet on it.
Yikes.
Aliza Pearl is here from Nerdist and Geek and Sundry, Streampunks, the Improvised generation. Everywhere. Very fortunate to have her. Mellie Doucette, our community manager here at Fandom Tabletop. Vanessa Guerrero from the El Rey Network and the Kicking and Screaming podcast, who just had an episode drop with Macaulay Culkin, and you should absolutely check it out. Cam Banks, the lead developer, the creator of Cortex Prime, and lead developer of Tales of Xadia, who will be helping us learn the ropes of the system. So it's not just an actual play show, it's an actually learn how to watch us play the game show. So hopefully when you are walking through this playtest at home with your group and you're like, how did that one happen? Oh yeah, they went through that in that one episode, and let's see what Cam said. I'm Joe Starr. I'm the rambly one. I'm a writer of Honest Trailers. I'm the senior content manager for D&D Beyond and Fandom Tabletop. I'll be your narrator for this game. Super excited to be here. Some quick business to get out of the way, and then we will jump into play. First of all, the Tales of Xadia playtest is available to download, and the full Tales of Xadia book is available to pre-order right now at talesofxadia.com. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link in the description. If you're on Twitch, I think you're being spammed with links right now. We are live here on Twitch every Thursday, and VODs drop on YouTube every Monday. And to thank you guys for tuning in live here on Twitch, we're giving away copies of Cortex Prime. Giveaways are triggered by heroic successes. And if you don't know what a heroic success is, you're going to find out. It's all a part of the show. And before we get started, I wanted to say thank you to RoboGoblin01. Hello, also known as @TTRPGifts on Twitter, for the absolutely amazing gifts of the show that you made last week. We had a blast with them. We really appreciate them. Everyone is already using them against me in our work Slack. So thank you so much for doing that for us. And now, if this group's amenable, let's jump back into Tales of Xadia. Four individuals were brought together by a mysterious moon shadow elf named Feathershaw. Their quest: investigate the forgotten, abandoned, and floating city of Aneen, drifting high across the Xadian sky to claim a powerful artifact called the Primal Well before the island collides with a mountain range at the border. The group quickly discovered that Aneen is not at all abandoned. It's inhabited by a society of wingless skywing elves, torn from the pages of history books. As the situation deteriorates, and it has deteriorated very quickly, the moon shadow elf assassin Eljal, committing what's basically a crime against her own culture, has chosen to side for now with the ghosted Feathershaw in search of an alternate route to the Primal Well. Sunfire elf warrior Vanessa found herself in the oddly hospitable company of Nosix, village elder, strangely calm that the countdown to calamity had sped up considerably. Unfortunately, Vanessa has discovered a dangerous universal truth. Kindly old men with a passion for cooking soup probably have a creepy basement that you shouldn't wander into. And now, she and her brother Babukar find themselves battling sentient suits of armor as Nosix attempts to use Vanessa as his latest test subject in his attempts to touch the Primal Well to move it to safety, and in his own keeping. Meanwhile, the lone human of the party, Winda, found herself off course in a completely different section of the city, where she encountered Olana, a strange, very to-the-point elf who has apparently hired the human as her hired gun in saving the population from the mountain. Now, Feathershaw and Eljaw follow a rather odd-looking, not looking, that was mean to say, follow a rather odd young girl through a dark doorway. Freudian slip for poor Pareka. Okay. Feathershaw and Eljaw follow a rather odd young girl through a dark doorway. The siblings fight for their lives, and Winda finds herself responsible for saving a city. But we begin with a single human soldier, panicked and exhausted, careening through a forest, terrified for his life. It's this human, decorated, slightly decorated. There's actually some medals on his armor marking this human as an officer of not necessarily an official kingdom's military, more of a sort of a ranking officer in some kind of mercenary group. Does mercenary mean he's a bad guy? We don't know. We just know that he's an officer for some kind of group of hired guns, or blades, I suppose would be the better, more apt description in this time period and in this world. Human, sweating, eyes wide, panting, breathing heavy. The air just like ripping through his lungs just interrupts the quiet of this deep forest, animals tearing out of the way, a rabbit just completely freezing and freaking out until the last second before an armored gauntlet is about to swing into it. It just careens out of the way just in the nick of time as this man hides behind the trunk of a tree, the sweat beating down from his face, listening to the forest, listening for his pursuer. Eljaw, what would you like to do?
Well, I'm in the trees and watching from above. And so I'd like to swiftly launch myself from one tree to the tree that's just beyond the direction where I think this person is going to run next.
Perfect. So you sort of very like deftly and swiftly just hopping from like branch to branch. You can just like a little flourish. There's like just a quick silent swing from a limb across to another tree, almost right over him. Just as he's looking to the right, you swing directly overhead, and he looks to the left. You're gone. You find yourself in a new perch, just dead ahead of this human. Moments go by. To both of you, they feel like minutes. As he gradually starts to move, building up that confidence to make a break for it, building up that confidence to run for his life, building up that confidence that maybe, just maybe, he's lost the Moonshadow elf assassin who has been chasing him for a better part of the day. A safe step, and then he's off again, tearing off directly in the direction that you predicted he would go. What would you like to do?
I just drop straight down in front of him.
Perfect. He does his best to stop short, but is, as a theme for Eljaw, breaking causes gravity to work against him. His heels kick up into the soft dirt of the forest floor. He finds himself just sort of turned horizontal in the air for just a moment. Wham! Slams directly into the ground. Not unlike a certain elected sheriff of a floating town that you've encountered. However, in this case, no betrayal of a chicken companion, just purely terrified eyes as this guy does his best to just like pull himself up to a sitting position as he's backing away from you as quickly as possible, just scrabbling through the underbrush as like little branches and smaller plants are smacking him in the face. Eljaw, you are stalking this man, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers style. What's next?
I pull out my dagger and I approach this person slowly, but with the dagger pretty visible. And I
Listen, whatever you
say,
want me to stop doing, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll stop.
it's not me who decides whether you live or die now. The order has been written, and I'm just here to fulfill it.
Uh, 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 as he's looking around, he grabs this rock that's nearby and just sort of like, just really quick, just has it in front of him, almost like holding it out as if it's a shield to protect himself from you as he struggles to kind of get to his feet.
I get closer.
Please, you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. Orders get rewritten all the time. People rethink decisions. We can come to an agreement. Do you want money? I have money. I mean, not a lot of money on me, but I can get you money. Just take me back to my camp, and we'll pay you anything you want. You don't have to do this.
There is no amount of money that could make me not fulfill my duty. And I brandish the dagger. And then I'm going to lunge at him.
Okay. As you lunge forward, we have ourselves a test. So Cam, Eljal is initiating this. So should Eljal be rolling sort of this this pool and then I'll roll against it, or should I be establishing the difficulty first?
I think if you're doing a test, it's not the human is not trying to test against Eljal. Eljal's trying to test against the situation that you presented. So
perfect. So we're approaching this similar to like if Eljal was trying to cross like a wobbly bridge or.
Yeah, and it's good to know going in what the potential outcome is going to be. Obviously, Eljal is going to do something, and if Eljal succeeds, that thing happens. But if Eljal fails, Eljal's going to take some stress, and then they will have to deal with the outcome of that consequence too.
Okay, perfect. So this is going to be a fairly difficult attack for all of his blustering and for all of this cowardly act. This guy didn't get the nice pieces of rare metal and you know, the polish on his armor out of nowhere. So we are going to build a dice pool of 2d10s, which we are going to roll. Which is not going to go well in the slightest for this poor stranger. So he rolled so you've got to beat a 4, but he also rolled this hitch, which is just delightful. So that's going to give you a plot point, I believe.
Yeah, but actually, no. Yeah, sorry. That's available for Aliza to buy off of you.
With okay, sorry, yeah.
And might I suggest that one of the things that Eljal could buy it off you for is to step up their. Do you have a weapon? I'm forgetting, Eljal, if you've got a weapon here.
I do. Actually, I said dagger, but I have a sword. And I have an elven sword staff. That's what I pull
it's
out.
an asset, right? And so she could step the asset up by 1 if she gives you and buys that, which would be really awesome.
Yeah, and since we are not in the current time of gameplay, but Aliza, since Eljal has not really used that weapon in our main story, that asset would obviously carry over into what we're doing.
Oh, okay. Okay. I'll. It's only a 4. I'm gonna leave it for now, and yeah, rely on my assassin skills.
Do it.
Okay.
Beat that 4.
I hope that confidence doesn't come back to bite you.
I'm gonna use agility because I'm just trying to take a quick stab at this
Mhm.
guy. Values. I want to say justice because I'm an assassin fulfilling my duty, putting this person to justice.
Absolutely, that works for me. Yeah, I would say justice, devotion to sort of Moonshadow Elf culture and your job, glory. Eldril might be wanting to climb the ladder, rise in the ranks. So any way you want to play that, I think works for me.
Okay. I'll stick with justice. Although, actually, I'll switch to devotion.
Sweet. DA, perfect.
And I'll use homesick assassin because this isn't my part of the woods, and I want to go home. So I'm gonna do that, and then specialties sword play. Would that? Oh, actually, let me put the sword staff in there. All right, yeah, I'll just roll.
Beat
If I
that
can't beat a 4 with this dice
And
pool,
you.
I don't deserve to beat it.
This is when you
Alright,
get. Oh
okay.
my goodness!
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Hey. Okay, so you've succeeded. Actually, with those elements, something I really do love about the mechanics of this game is how everything we do in all of these dice pulls always make us have to think about the why and our character motivations and why they're doing what they're doing. Because even the why affect, even if you're just swinging a sword, the why affects how you do it and what it looks like. So, Aliza, do you want to sort of lay out how this goes down?
Yeah. So as I said, I've pulled out my sword staff and I've been brandishing it, almost casually twirling it, kind of to intimidate this person. And as he's been trying to talk his way out of this, and I just lunge forward and I stab towards his rib cage.
Amazing. And then also rolled a hitch, which is going to come into play here just a little bit. So Cam, Aliza succeeded with her roll. We both threw hitches at each other. At this point, what is the narrator able to do with the hitch that Eljal rolled? Eljal sort of able to take that, to buy that hitch that I rolled, if they want to. In this case, I can assign some stress.
I think Aliza chose not to buy it, which was smart, keeping the plot point as opposed to spending it there. But now you can buy the hitch from her by giving her a plot point, so she'll have 2. And in that case, you can put any kind of stress on her you want. And I think that's up to you to decide what that's going to be based on how this went. But hitch stress doesn't have to be directly as a result of the flow. I mean, you don't have to give her injured stress, for example.
Right.
You can impose some other kind of thing on her and say, okay, Aljal's feeling this, and then they have to deal with that after what they've done.
Exactly. Thank you. So as Eljal sort of stabs forward with their very cool looking sword spear, just almost at the last moment, this human mercenary captain is able to just turn the tables at just the last second and just sidesteps very smoothly all of a sudden, almost like he was playing possum, just a little bit, barrels directly into Eljal and just keeps running. In those moments, a couple things sort of came into play. Eljal is done with this. Like you said, Aliza, not their neck of the woods, and they just want to go home. And in that moment, after Eljal's been playing cat and mouse with this guy for the better part of a day, just this wave of exhaustion hits them. Not exhaustion, insecurity hits them. After playing cat and mouse and then just completely blowing that moment. So that is going to step. Let's see. That's going to give you a D4 amount of insecurity stress.
Sixes are lowest.
I didn't see how badly. What was the total that you got? Was it a 4?
My total?
No. What did Aliza get?
I got 16.
16.
Oh, that's ridiculously high.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out how there's some success here, and because that is true, it's super high. And this is also a little bit of a complicated part of sort of figuring out the narrative end of this. So Eljal does sort of strike this guy in the arm. He loses the rock. This piece of armor that he was wearing on his arm, kind of Final Fantasy style. You know, the one just the one big sort of armor gauntlet. Actually pulls directly off from the force of the blow, grazes his arm. So while the killing stroke definitely didn't land, Eljal does have this just trail, so to speak, to follow now. So the cat and mouse game kind of continues, but has a big cheat code attached to it.
So I'm knocked down on the ground.
No, okay, yeah. It's still kind of on your feet. You know, definitely didn't go that bad.
Okay. Well, I get up quickly and just to myself as I start to pursue again. I can't keep blowing it. I need to just kill the person. Why can't I get it in my head? Just kill the person. When you're sent to kill someone, just kill them.
As Eljal tears into the woods after the trail, just berating themselves over and over again. We're going to cut back to this is just a big long suspense moment. Creepy basement.
Oh no.
Creepy basement.
We cut to a creepy basement. Setting the scene. There is it's this small little library in the basement of the Anine Keep. A couple things that make this library very odd. In the center, there's this piece of armor that's very prominently placed. Weirder than that is the very ominous, creepy, yet sort of sad old man with now some very clear sort of sinister intentions. Odder than that, those sinister intentions are towards two Sunfire elves, outsiders have not been seen in Anine since any people alive on this island can imagine. Odder than that are the several frozen statues of various missing citizens of Anine that were used as test subjects to try to touch the primal well. Odder than that are the 3 suits of sentient ceremonial Skywing elf armor that are swirling to attack Babukar, while Nosix makes a play to grab at Vanessa. There's already a wall of flame sort of swirling in the room that Babukar is in control of as this armor makes its move at him. Let's start there. Babukar, what would you like to do?
Yeah, so I'm trying to maintain this wall up to keep Nosix from getting to my sister. But now this armor is up, and I'm trying to sort of maintain that connection. I don't want to drop it, and I'm not sure whether I'm able to really combine keeping that spell active while also fending off these guys. So I'm kind of backing away, and I'm trying to be as confident as cocky as I can be. I mean, I'm I'm Babica. I'm a fire mage. I can do all this stuff, right?
Mhm.
But I don't think I've ever dealt with flying animated suits of armor before. They didn't teach you that in Lux Aurea Fire Mage Academy or wherever it was I got my training. So I've already kind of come in there and said, no, don't touch it to Bonetta. Put the flame up. And I'm trying to fight for some words to use to maybe do something about this, because I'm very much a talky type person in moments like this. And all I can come out with is like, back. And I've got my staff, which is not an asset, by the way. I don't have an asset called staff. It is a thing I carry with me, but it has no game consequences whatsoever. Well, what I want to do is I want to spend one of my plot points to give it temporary importance.
Perfect.
To make it a D6 asset for the time being.
Okay.
And with that, just whack it the nearest one of these things to try and drive it into the flame. And maybe if I can do that, I can keep the flame as an important thing up and then just sort of pushing it back. So I'm going to try and combine the fact that I have a spell already active with my new D6 as asset for my staff.
Okay, so you're sort of trying to shepherd these attacking suits of armor into this wall of flame that you've conjured. All right, cool. So I'm going to create that dice pool for you as soon as I open the correct window to do so. Here it is. So this is going to say again, Cam.
Do they have like a trait that you can throw into the difficulty to make it harder for me to be able to do what I want?
Oh, they do, and it's a pretty metal one. It's a 6.
It's metal.
A 6, and a 6. On top of that, it's going to be a very challenging roll, so I'm adding those 2 d8s to add that piece of challenge in there. Because right now you're sort of dealing with you're starting with the first, but all 3 are sort of closing in. So let me give that a roll. And
Yay!
Why can't I roll anything in any game that I ever play?
You know what though? It's not you, Joe. It's the hot seat. If you're in the hot seat running the game, roll and keep. This is like flashbacks to Hammerheads.
That's what it is. I can set up the creepiest, tensest boss, and then they immediately turn into a dumb clown.
Well, we'll see how it goes with like me
That's
and
true.
Netflix.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
What I want to do, I still have a plot point left. I will immediately spend it to activate those hitches, and that gives me 2 more steps to my asset. So it's going to make it from a 6 right now to an 8 to a 10.
Oh,
that staff asset, cool.
Boss
So now I have a
stuff.
D10 asset, which I can use in my roll. Thank you for that. I'm just assuming that they did not build in resistance to Sunfire elves with staves as part of their protocol when being crafted by whatever magician person did it.
You know what? I think it's fair to say that was probably a blind spot.
Bit of a blind spot.
Bit of a blind spot. I think that's fair.
And I will put my dice together. So I have to beat a 7. All right. Well,
yes, you have the coolest roll I've ever gotten to put together for a bad guy.
I'm going to put this in here right away because that's for my. Oh, where is it? Did it go in? I don't think it did.
Oh, hang on, let me clear my roll out. There you go.
I can't put my 10 into my dice pool thing. Wonder why that's happening.
The like extra dice module is like a drag and drop.
Yep.
Oh.
I'm dragging it. It's not dropping in.
Oh.
I wonder if I could grab this one in. No. Oh well.
You have an extra 10 somewhere on your sheet. You can just throw.
I'll use that extra 10 somewhere. I don't know how I'll do that either. No, it's like it's a really nice 10. I like this 10. So I don't know. All right, well, I'll start off with this is definitely going to be strength to push them back, I think. So I'll put that in there. Maybe I have to put my other dice in first before it starts being able to do that. So I'll see if that works.
Prototype tools.
No. Oh well. Anyway, I'm devoted to Bonetta. I want to stop these things from doing things. So that's my overwhelming value right now, which is a 6 also. I'm not doing so great with this. Simplicity is the best solution. I didn't want to do any more magic. I just want to shove them backwards. That's my distinction that I'm using. And I've got a thing, spend a plot point and either gain a D8 asset or step up an existing asset when undertaking a challenge because of your keen insight, but I'm out of plot points, so I can't use that. But I will use the D8 there. And I don't think I'm actually, well, would you say that I'm still using my magic, or is that like incidental thing there, Joe?
No, I think you're still using your magic. You know, you're doing some physicality in terms of warding them off with the staff, but I think your magic and manipulation of that firewall is happening in concert.
Then I'll put my sun magic spells in, but it's not actually the spells. This is my asset, and I'm going to step it up with my thing. So I'll make it the D10. That's to reflect the asset I can't otherwise drag in there for some reason. All right, cool. And I will roll.
It's not just you, Joe.
I got some hitches. I got a 13, so I do succeed by a lot. At least by 5, right? So that's a heroic success. But I think that yeah, I've got at least a D8 stress coming my way if you want to give me a plot point.
Yes. So that's sort of Babacar in the doorway is oh man, you know, never mind, I'm good. I was like, Necrex is here. He should have helped, but no, not yet. Necrex is just standing in the doorway, just completely overwhelmed by what's happening. He is merely an elected official, as you know. So the way this sort of happens is Babacar sort of driven by this devotion to protect and help his sister. Is, you know, is just the flame wall gets more intense, the heat in the room gets a little more, and it's almost like moving, almost like a figure S. As the wall shapes to where Babacar needs it to be, as he manipulates it with his staff, and he starts to sort of try to shepherd the first suit of armor that gets close to him into the wall of fire, and just yells, "Banana!" Unfortunately, they're all three are sort of attacking at once, so it's definitely, you know, a risky bit of business. These wings, they almost they don't really move like people. They almost look like Mega Man villains. It's just these breastplates with wings that are just spinning and kind of zipping almost. So these sharp edges are Babacar can sort of like feel them cutting through the cloth of his robe and hitting him. So you do get that D8 worth of injury stress, but eventually it works. You know, it takes a good couple moments, you know, and by then, who knows what has happened with Gnostics and Veneta? We'll find out. But ultimately, you do overcome these suits of armor. So you're haggard, a little worn out, definitely a lot more beat up than you were when you came into the room. The flame wall sort of like coming back to a normal how would you describe this? Just a neutral flame wall, almost standing at attention, awaiting further command from Babacar. As all of that begins, Vanetta, Gnostics is lunging for you. Just this intense sadness and resolve in his eyes, as he just he's trying to like grapple you and to drag you to the armor, and he's just shouting about how you have to take the well, you have to wear the armor, Otherwise, what was any of it for? What were any of my sins for? What were any of my sins for? If you don't do this for me, you have to do this for me.
Six, you have to stop. You have to stop this. It's not going to make anything better. And I want to fight. I want to like try to kind of use his own momentum against him and just kind of put him in front of me in between the armor so that he's closer to touching it than I am.
Got it. So one moment as I bring Gnostics up.
But the well's not in this room though, right? It's just the armor in his library.
Yeah, it's kind of in the room beyond. So Gnostics Gnostics, to be fair, has a few steps ahead of him. He hasn't really thought this out. He's kind of panicking.
He did explain to me last time that like the armor was the only way for us to take the well.
Exactly.
But also he's very questionable.
So he's definitely got a couple of steps ahead of him. So this is going to be fairly interesting. As I apologize, you guys, as I keep rambling to mask the fact I'm having a hard time finding Gnostic's stats. I'm almost there, I swear.
Yeah, and is this going to be a test or a contest?
There's Feathershaw. This is going to be a contest, I think. Yeah, Cam, this is two characters struggling with each other.
Yeah, and with a catalyst, which is what Norzix is, almost always you want to stay as a contest because the outcome will shift their values one way or another, which is kind of the point of catalysts. I think we probably never really want to use tests for catalysts because they're so important.
Yeah.
But winged armor, I don't think is that big a deal.
Yeah, the winged armor won't get a whole lot of character development. It is now sort of charred, kind of just like lying kind of lifeless on the ground. Whatever spell Gnostics, or I don't know, maybe not Gnostics, whatever spell someone placed on the armor seems to have fizzled out for now. So I'm going to, since Gnostics is sort of initiating this contest, Vanessa, by lunging, I'm going to put together this dice pool for Gnostics. Normally, I'd be real mum with my players about what exactly all of his stats look like, but I want to talk through them for the crowd. So obviously, he's a catalyst. He's a D8 catalyst right now. That can step up and step down depending on his relationship to the players, kind of what's been happening, whether he's lost contests in the past, for instance. Vanessa, when you elf handled Feathershaw, that ultimately stepped Feathershaw down to a D6 catalyst. So they lost a little bit of status in the quest, in the story, in the eyes of the player characters. So that's step one, is that catalyst die. Gnostics has a couple of different distinctions: Skywing Elf, Dark Secrets, and Keeper of the Primal Well. Two of those fit really well. They're both D8s. So I'm going to go, we got to go Dark Secrets right now. He's full on, yeah, it's all out there. His values, I'm going to go with, I'm going to go with Devotion. It's a D6, it's not his best asset, but again, this isn't about picking your best assets every time. This is about his, Gnostics has devoted his life so much that he's put his fellow Aeneans in harm's way in his efforts to keep the well safe from this impending doom. He's willing to do some very questionable and terrible things to friends to get the primal well off of this island before the mountain hits and into a safekeeping. So specialties, I'm going with stewardship of the well over sky magic. And he also has an asset called a Necklace of Warning, which I don't think really plays into what's going on. So I've got my pool. Let's roll it. And it's going to be bad. It was not great. Okay, so a
This is
total
just
of
the start,
11.
though.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
the
exactly.
opening.
Start of a contest. Yeah. So and sorry, what is Nosik's goal, like end goal for this contest? Like if Nosix wins, what happens?
Nosik's end goal for this contest is to literally what he's struggling to do is to pin Vanetta to the ground so that he can strap this armor onto her.
Cool. All right, cool. So, okay. I'm
Right.
just gonna start with my value because I feel like at this point, this is gonna be Vanetta's truth value, which is fools need smiting more than they need saving. Because at this point, he's become very untrustworthy, and she assumes that touching this armor might be dangerous because he said he can't touch it or something. So she's just kind of trying to use his movement against him to kind of push him towards the armor. So I'm gonna use truth, and this is gonna be my strength, just trying to overpower him. This is gonna be my Knight of Luxaria. Just again, combat training. I don't think that any of my other things apply, so I think I'm just going with these dice. Oh boy. Okay, let's do it. Shoot.
Wow.
Yay!
Oh no.
Oh no.
There's nothing. I can't. I was saving those plot points to use them for something, and I cannot.
Nope.
That is. I lost this contest. Is what happened.
Yes.
Well, I mean, you take some stress, right? Whether you're actually in the armor now or not is probably
Yes,
up.
right. Yeah. So he hasn't necessarily got what he wanted, but I'm gonna take. What was your effect, Joe? D8.
Mm-hmm.
So I take a D8 of the stress, and
Yes.
plus I have a hitch. I don't know if you're activating that.
Yeah, you could make it. You could make the stress worse if you wanted to.
Yeah. So Vanetta completely outclasses this old man in combat training. But combat training, much like Babukar never really being trained to deal with flying suits of armor, no one really ever trained Vanetta to deal with pure crazy old man with nothing to lose.
Trying to be kind of gentle, because again, it's like you're just an old man. I don't want to hurt you. Just stop.
His sweet little paper bones. So in this struggle, like his eyes are just wide, and there's just tears streaming down his face.
Oh my gosh.
He hates this. He hates himself, but this has to happen. His hair is unkempt and wild.
No.
That big pot of soup that he was holding is just rolling. Actually, no, it's falling in slow motion, Usual Suspect style, like as this is happening. And he's just able to wrestle Vanetta down as he's just pulling the armor, just using all of his weight to hold Vanetta to the ground as he's just pulling the armor off of its thing. That's the word. And
Yeah.
just trying desperately to just strap this armor onto Vanetta. As for next steps, how do you then force Vanetta into to touch the well? Not thinking that far, not thinking at all anymore. And that is happening as Babukar is concluding the battle with that armor. Babukar,
what kind of stress are you giving me?
Oh, thank you. Vanetta, one of the big reasons Vanetta is down and Nosix is having a slightly easier time than you would expect is a bad landing. Vanetta's head strikes the stone floor of the keep fairly hard, so that's going to be physical stress.
Also injury.
Yeah, so just seeing stars. Babukar, there's this moment of silence where you're seeing this happen, but then you sort of suddenly realize a figure steps into your field of vision, and all of a sudden you remember Necrex, this ridiculous guard who arrested the group upon arrival to the island, has stepped in between you and Vanetta.
Oh no. Okay. So he is trying to be like defending Norsex, I guess, right? He's kind of got this loyalty thing going. Is that what's happening? Am I reading that correctly, or am I just...
Babacar, as you start to size up the situation, you realize that Necrex isn't looking at you. He's not looking at Nosix. He's looking at one of the frozen figures. And he says, Dad?
Oh no, jeez.
Oh,
We cut to a very chaotic town square where Olana is just yelling her sweet heart out about everyone needing to gather in an orderly group so that they can plan the evacuation. There's every moment is precious. There's no time to do what everybody's doing. Olana just very not used to people not listening, turns, looks Winda dead in the eyes, and is just like, you can hear me, right?
Yeah, have you like typically gotten people to do what you say before?
I mean, yes, on a small scale. There's a smudge on a glass when I'm having brunch, then absolutely, that glass gets desmudged. If I want some assistance in choosing some new clothes or a new dress, then yes, absolutely. I command the attention of that store. But this is fix this.
I'm gonna wager both that I'm probably not getting paid at the end of this and that you have a lot of money.
Oh, you're asking me. I was like, is that inner monologue? No, that's to Olana. Well, we are you holding me over for contract negotiations right now?
No. First of all, I strongly doubt that there's a contract into play, considering I don't work for you. But also, I don't think you know how to tell people what to do unless they work for you, which might be what we're running into here.
Winda, and she puts her hands on your shoulders. When we shook hands,
Yeah.
we entered into a contract.
Oh my god.
Remember when we shook hands and you kind of flash back to a moment where, yeah, maybe Olana like took your hands as if she was examining your hands and was looking at your hand, which to a human, probably not quite a handshake. I need you to make them listen or we're all going to die.
Okay, gotcha. First of all, later we're going to go over what a handshake is, because I think just shaking me with your hands does not count. But what plan are we communicating to them right now? Where do you need them to go? When you just yell stuff at people, they might think you're just insane.
And you can tell there's a moment where she's like struggling with how to say this. She says, I don't know what to do. I just need everyone here so we can figure it out.
All right, so we just brainstorming. Your idea is brainstorming. Well, it's one idea. It's more ideas than I actually have right now, and I'd like to live. What's a big central? Is there like a bell or something nearby? Something that everybody looks at or is really loud?
Yes. And she and she's like, Quinoa Bell.
There's been a bell. Okay. Tell me where the bell is. I want to see if I could just make it real loud, and that's how we can get some attention for you.
She points. There's in the little sort of bit of the square you guys are in. There's what is clearly a restaurant, and there's lots of different kinds of bowls of quinoa on display. And on the top of the restaurant, there is a bell hanging. And she's like, "How did I forget the bell at Quinoa Bell?"
Oh, quinoa, like the grain, like less good rice. Got it. All right. Well, it's something. So One thing I know is that people look at a spectacle. So how about I fire an arrow into that bell, and you just climb up onto a table, and once I have everybody, all eyes on you, you tell them what you need.
Great. Okay. So she seems very amenable to this because she's sort of starting to have an anxiety attack for not knowing exactly what needs to happen for the first time in her life. So here's how we'll do this.
We have so ruined these people's lives.
Yes.
We just show up and upset everything.
But that's the point of these games, right? Let's break
Yeah.
everything and see how we can fix them. Okay. Here's how this is going to work, Winda. So this is going to be a test. This is a test to make enough of an impact that these people suddenly stop freaking out and trust this human outsider. So this is going to be a challenging dice pool. Let me clear those. So I'm going to throw in 2d8s to make this challenging. The crowd has a value of 1d6. So the whole of this crowd, for the most part, aside from maybe a few stragglers here and there, is represented by this d6. And I'm going to... No, I'm not. I was gonna add another difficulty dice because you're the first human any of them have seen, and I think that's an interesting wrinkle. But I almost think that I'm going to just give you an asset because I just want to see how this happens outside of this role because you are the only human, and that's weird. So I'm going to give you a D6 asset called, oh wow, a human. That's weird. And so I'm going to just roll these dice as is. Oh, and speaking of that, Aliza, I also forgot to give you a plot point for the flashback because I just really liked that moment where Elja was yelling at themselves as they ran into the woods. So mark that down for yourself.
Thank you.
Cam and Mellie, do better.
Oh,
You gave us plot points for stress, so I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, do better by being hurt. It's all good.
Got it.
Hey, I rolled decently. Okay, a 10. There we go.
All right. And my asset was a D6?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to throw in a human. That's weird. I'm assuming because I'm firing an arrow, agility is the attribute that I want.
Yeah, that tracks.
That tracks. And then I'm thinking devotion because while I may snark, I am at least loyal to my temporary employer, who's clearly about to have a meltdown. Oh, and I have light crossbow. Doink. All right. So I've got those all in. I'm going to go ahead and roll. And oh god, please don't let me shatter this quinoa bell and ruin a lot of people's lunches.
Oh.
You could. Do you have any plot points?
Let me see.
You must.
I think I have one.
You can move that 2 into your total.
Into your total.
Mhm.
Ooh, okay.
You know, I feel like I should have given you Alana as a. Alana should have assisted with this. I will keep that in mind for next time.
But 11's good.
11 is good. I like 11. 11
Yeah,
means
11
I
ain't
haven't
bad.
shattered anything.
Yeah, 11 absolutely ain't bad. Actually, you know what? Go ahead and roll an extra because now I'm mad at myself, and if I don't fix it, it'll bother me all week. And I'll be eating lunch this weekend at one point and just be like, I should have given Alana the Alana assist. I should have given the Alana assist. So go ahead and Alana, go ahead and add an additional d6, or go and roll an additional d6 on top. I'm not going to make you re-roll that because then you'll get a 4, and you guys will never forgive me. So clear that. Roll an extra d6 because while you're doing
Okay.
this, Alana is helping.
Okay, so I'm just gonna head and clear.
You're a
this.
tandem. You're a dual act. You're Batman and Robin.
We're Abbott and Costello, kind of.
Absolutely.
All right, I'm rolling this d6.
So a 4 would have been better than a 2 to
Yeah.
include the pool,
Okay.
which would be a 13 in that case, right?
Perfect.
Yes.
So
I can
ultimately,
math.
yeah. So we've mathed. So okay, this is interesting. You didn't like rockingly succeed, but
Yeah.
we're kind of the score is tied here. So okay. Here's how we're okay. Yeah, here's how we're gonna do this. So Olana jumps up onto this table and is just continuing to shout at everyone. They need to listen. We've got to organize to figure out a way off the island, or everyone's going to die. Winda, sort of standing under Olana on the ground in front of the table, pulls out her crossbow. You take your shot. Actually, you walk me through this. How does this happen? What do you do?
Okay. I take my shot and it hits the bell and makes a loud doinging noise. And everyone looks over at what the loud doinging noise is, and I'm waiting for Alana to make a sound. And when she doesn't, I just quickly and loudly announce, running and screaming elves of this floating city, 3 things. 1, yes, I'm a human. No one touch my face. 2, I am so sorry for possibly damaging your quinoa bell, but you should all consider barley anyway. And number 3, everyone here that doesn't have a plan, that isn't running and screaming, should be listening to this person right now. Alana!
Somehow it works like pretty well. A ton of people sort of start to stop and pause. People are like they're just holding their stuff. People have been going and grabbing keepsakes and valuables. There's one guy who just literally is just holding his 2 kids like they're kittens, and he's just holding them by like the scruff, basically. Just by like the back of their shirts. Just he turns and the kids also turn like, huh? To face you guys. And to their point of view, just the way the sun is hitting, just the way the light is striking the table, it just looks pretty inspiring. There's the silhouette of Alana in this hugely strong pose, and Winda, crossbow out, the first human that any of these folks have ever seen. The wind blowing just perfectly, and Winda's like cropped hair is kind of just going like, just like just enough that they do look like this. I mean, to them they're Abbott and Costello, but to this crowd for like just a moment, there's this gleaming feeling of hope and of calm. And as Alana goes, "That's right, everyone, listen to me, because what we have to do right now is," and then the island hits the mountain. We cut to.
Of course it does.
No.
Eljal and Feathershaw following this odd little girl.
Is she odd looking?
Yes.
Man,
Yes.
this girl looks ridiculous.
This is your legacy.
You know what? Yeah, she is odd looking. Why is she odd looking? She clearly this young lady has clearly been left to her own devices, let's say.
Mhm.
No one has really taught this young lady how to dress. No one has really taught this young lady how to do her hair. So yes, she has made some interesting decisions. Like when you ask a child if they would like to pick their outfit today, and they immediately go to like their Halloween costume chest. So yes, she is odd looking. Thank you very much. Gertz. Um, so yes, this very like odd looking little girl, she's made some very interesting decisions about her hair. She has two very big pigtails, but then she has like one smaller pigtail that's just kind of like right here and not quite working.
Like in between the horns, like, I mean, because that's
Yeah, kind of horn, but just like one, like a droopy unicorn horn, just kind of like a mew right there, along with these two, which are going like straight up. So it does actually kind of give you the sense of like animal ears and then like a weird snout. And it kind of bounces as she walks. So thanks to you guys not letting that go, she is now 110% more adorable. So the two of you are following this little girl and her little bouncy thingamadoo through this doorway. You find yourselves in this simple hallway. There's another door at the end of it, and the little girl sort of turns back to the two of you, smiles first at Wiggy, who is back perched on Eljal's shoulder inexplicably, and she smiles really big at Eljal, then sort of smiles very nervously at Feathershaw, and it's just like, it's just right through here. Well, it's right through here, and then there's another room, and then it's right through there. Well, once it's right through there, there's a tunnel that leads to the keep for an emergency exit, and that's where it is. Well, there's another door, and then there's the chamber where the well is, but that's where the well is. So, well, yeah, that's about it. What are your names?
I'm Eljal.
Hi, I'm Pareka. What's your name? And Feathershaw is just like, just with pure Alan Rickman, just like acid. Feathershaw.
that's cool.
I'm Pareka. Do you have doors where you're from? And she just like points at this very normal looking door.
Yes, Pareka, we have doors.
Neat. Do they turn with knobs like ours turn with knobs? As she's turning the knob.
We're familiar with that type of door, yes.
Do you have libraries?
Yes.
Do your libraries have basements?
Some of them do.
And as you're walking through the door, she says, do your libraries have angry librarians who are really tired of you trespassing in their basement and tell you repeatedly not to come back to the basement?
Well, Pareka, that sounds like a you situation.
That's not like
Pareka, who are these people? There is a very flustered looking librarian who is clearly making some real hard choices right now about what priceless books to save from her library. Just looks very flustered, and clearly the last thing she wanted to see in her basement was, one, this little girl, and two, the weird strangers that have shown up to town. Her eyes just kind of go wide, and she puts the books down on this small wooden table behind her. The room's kind of candle lit. It smells kind of nice, a little lavendery, very calm. Like this is a very like chill place to come read and learn if also the apocalypse wasn't coming. And so she stands like defensively in front of these books, like she's just willing to go down to protect these things. And it's just like, what do you want? What are you doing here? Pareka, whose side are you on?
We're not here to harm anyone or take anything from you. We just need access to the primal well. It's to help save the whole island, though.
kind of like looks at, at the both of you a little bit, and then like looks at Pareka and looks back at you and just says, "How dare you take advantage of this little girl? What did you do to her to give up this the secret route?"
Nothing. She just came up to us and told us. Said she would take us here.
Do you have torture where you're from?
Who has been torturing you, Pareka?
Oh dear.
Oh, nobody. I read about it in a book. Do you have books where you're from?
Oh, good. Yes. And there is torture, but we didn't torture anyone since we've gotten here. And then I think for a minute, is that true? Yes. We have not tortured anyone since we got here. I don't know. I just met this person.
I haven't tortured anyone. And the librarian is just like, "You've tortured me. I don't have time for this." And just points at the door, sort of just on the other side of this little basement. And the librarian is just like, "The well is that way. Pareka, stay here." And Pareka's like, "Okay, I've got to stay here.
Okay, Pareka. Thank you very much for helping us.
Bye, Feathershawl." And Feathershawl is just like, So as the two of you move through the library, and this librarian is just moving with you guys to protect these books, just eyeballing you, eyeballing your weapon. As you pass through the next door, and it's a much darker hallway. It leads down just a little bit. That nice, fresh smell that was from the library is kind of replaced with sort of cold, dead air. It feels a little bit like the emergency exit staircase in any tall building you've ever been in. It's a little colder. It's kind of stale. It smells a little funny. And as the two of you start to descend down this, you can see a door on the opposite side. So you're not descending into pure, you're not walking into the abyss or anything. It's just this dimly lit hallway. You see the door on the other side. You get about halfway through when all of a sudden just the hallway just erupts with this fierce impact. Both of you are sort of thrown against the wall. And as you start to struggle to get up, it sounds like you've heard a car crash. Like there's this just giant smashing sound that it sounds like a bomb's gone off. And as you sort of struggle to get up, you hear a voice behind you say, "Oh, we probably hit the mountain." Has your home ever hit a mountain where you're from?
No, it hasn't.
We cut back to where are we? Let's cut back to Window. We'll reverse back this way. So Olana is about to make her big proclamation, and that is when the island makes its first impact with the mountain and smashes. So you guys, you're not flying at this thing, at subsonic speeds, but the collision has definitely begun. The front of the island is starting to crumble. You can already see the buildings over towards that end are starting to shake a little bit, stuff starting to fall. This is the beginning of the end of Anine. And in that moment, Winda, when everything depends on her, Olana chokes. Everyone kind of gives her a moment to save the day. She does not. And she sort of like awkwardly gets down from the table and just sort of stands behind you and says, "Listen to the human. I scouted her myself. She's very qualified."
I turn around and just try and have like a brief whisper argument with Olana before I figure out if I'm getting on this table and coming up with a plan or not. What was your plan before, and is it different now that we've hit a mountain? And Oh my god, why have you passed this to me? I didn't want to be in charge of anything. I just wanted to look around and look at cool stuff, and I just wanted to explore.
I don't know, just all my ideas real quick just sounded really stupid, and everybody's really counting on them like I have ideas, but what if, normally everyone just says, yes, Alana, that's very correct, but what if they don't always mean it? And what if my ideas aren't actually good and correct in this moment and everyone dies?
All right. So, just catching you up to speed right now. Everyone's going to die anyway. So, odds are in your favor there. And also, here's your first chance to get someone to say, yes, Alana, and your ideas are good.
Okay. Okay. Key points. Quick. I'm just gonna bounce some pitches. You can run with one. There is at the end of the mountain, sort of on the southwest side there, and she sort of points at here's the area that's sort of colliding, and over here is just kind of where she's pointing. There are some walkable cliffs. A lot of people, a lot of teenagers, when you come of age, it's sort of a tradition to just like go down there and just like spit off the side and just like throw stuff and dare each other as to who can get closest. I think it's very childish. I never did it, but
this is an energy I can get behind.
We could climb down the cliffs and maybe safely step off the mountain if we can help everyone get down the side of the cliffs.
Okay, like a bridge.
Exactly like a bridge, or we can just use an actual bridge. There's lots of bridges. Maybe we can repurpose a bridge, or hang gliders, spitballing.
Spitballing, which is also kind of just what they do off the cliff. I want to do that later. Anyways, do you have movable bridges here, or is this just an idea that we're throwing around?
We don't have movable bridges, but we have mages.
Mages.
And you seem strong. You could lift an end, yeah?
Of a whole bridge. We're going to talk about human anatomy again later, because I know that was a thing that we ran into earlier.
I don't know how strong you are. I really don't know anything about humans.
Not that strong, considering I trust most of these people here about as far as I can throw them, which is not that far. All right, mages. Let's go with the mages. Are there any mages here? Ask them to move a bridge to that wall, and let's get everybody just moving off that bridge. But you need to get it together and tell them, because I don't know anything about this place.
Because it's a good idea, right?
Because it's a good idea, Alana.
You sort of feel like this weight has been lifted off of this woman, and she's like, "It is a good idea.
It's a really good idea, and right now it's the only idea."
And she steps out from in front of you and like steps onto the bench of this table and like like Captain Morgan's a foot onto your shoulder.
Oh my god, you're so buying me a new cloak later.
Listen to me, everyone. We can repurpose the bridges throughout the city to create safe exits away from the mountain. If we time this well and if we work together, we can do it. And everyone's kind of going like, and a lot of people, the guy like holding the kids, one of the kids like raises their hand, and she's like, wasn't ready to field questions, but yes. And the kid is like, will the human carry the bridges and carry us to safety? and she's like, in theory, yes. The human is here to help.
All right. 1, I can't carry bridges. I'm not that strong. 2, I do not have the power of flight or magic. And 3, the human is here to help because the human wants to live.
The little girl that the guy is holding also raises her hand, Winda.
Is this a question for me?
I heard that the only way to stop a human is to punch its nose.
We do have some of the same sensitive spots that sharks do. I don't think you have sharks. There are a lot of ways to stop us. A nose is a good way.
help the human, we're in. Like the kids are like, we're in. And for some reason that optimism like starts to ripple out as people start to spread the word, you know, like let's gather all of our magic users, let's start getting folks together. And you look up at Olana and she's just like beaming down at you, just like radiating this like new confidence for maybe one of the first times she has earned a yes ma'am from her community, as opposed to have just been given it. And the foot doesn't come off of your shoulder though. She just like looks down and it's just like, thank you, Winda. You're gonna get a solid employee review after this.
You're welcome.
Which brings us back to Necrex, Babukar, and Vanessa. Vanessa being anchored down by Gnostics, who's struggling to get this armor onto her. Babukar standing ready to do what? We're going to find out. And Necrex standing just in complete stunned realization that he's staring at the frozen statue of his father. All of a sudden, it seems like no one else is really in the room with him. Babukar, what would you like to do? Well, Vanessa struggles and Necrex is dumbfounded.
Quick question, actually.
Yes.
Did we deal with Gnostic's catalyst die and his values changing from our contest?
We absolutely did not. So winning that contest would step his catalyst die up, wouldn't it, Cam?
Yeah, and I think he steps up the value that he used and steps
the
down
value he
another.
was
Is that correct,
using.
Cam?
Yeah, devotion
Which
will
was
go up by
devotion.
1.
Yes.
But something else has to go down as a result of it
Right.
going up.
And it's going to be something bad's going to go down to make
Sanity.
him
Oh wait, that's not a
crazier.
value.
Yeah. Let me do the exact same dance I did earlier to find Gnostics. There he is. Okay, so I am noting for myself, and thank you for reminding me. So Gnostics won that contest, which means he's kind of, in the simplest terms, leveled up as a boss. So he was a D8 catalyst. He's now a D10 catalyst.
Yeah. I figured in case Cam wants to do something with Gnostics, it's now going to be harder. Sorry, brother.
Yes,
No.
it's going to be much harder.
That's great. Thanks, Mellie.
His
Oh, yes, welcome.
devotion has gone up to a D8, and my pen has run out of ink. There we go. Devotion has gone up to a D8. But then let's see here. What's going to go down? See the greater good. The way he translates justice, I don't think it would go down. Patience might. His truth is going to go down. So his truth is going to step down from a D8 to a D6.
And this is the die rating, which is something that's important, I guess, to know for folks watching. The die rating is not necessarily how much of that thing they are. It's just how much that thing is important to that character.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're stepping truth down, truth is becoming a whole lot less important to Norzix than devotion to whatever he believes.
Yeah, his true colors have started to just suddenly, like the whole band-aid has come off, and the jig is kind of up in a way that I think this old man, who clearly has wanted the jig to be up for a while, but I think he wanted to be able to control this narrative a lot better. I think he sees himself as a very tragic hero.
Yeah.
It
It probably went a lot
not-
better in his head.
Oh,
Mhm.
100%. I don't know how that looks exactly, but nothing has really gone according to plan. So all of a sudden, he's very much unraveling. And so this truth, this concept that he's, you've just got to believe me, it was for everyone's own good, is so much less important to him all of a sudden.
So here's a question for you, Joe. Are we still in that weird, unusual suspects slow-mo moment where I can make use of the falling bowl of soup?
Yes.
Ooh.
I'm never going to be like, with a question like that, are you kidding me? I'm never going to be like, no. I absolutely want to see what's going to happen with this soup. Oh,
All right.
check off soup. I'm so excited.
Check off soup. Check off soup. We could call it Aravos's soup if you want to translate Chekhov to Aravos. That's fine. I think that what we want to do is remember that Babacar has been swinging his staff around, which has given a whole lot more importance to this storyline. He's moving walls of fire. He's trying to push people into it, like suits of armor. And now on the snapshot moment of when he's looking at his sister being pinned down by this crazy man, and Necrex obviously realizing something important, he's going to make as much use of that moment as he can by spinning his staff around and then clipping the bottom of it, the butt of it, on the soup, and just flipping it in Norzik's direction to try and nail him with the soup that he made.
Yes, this 100% happens. So this is more of a test because he's not like actively facing you or defending himself or anything like that. This is just pure Babacar hitting an old man in the back of the head with a bowl of soup.
Yeah, I want to put some stress on him, basically. And if I don't win, I'm going to take it myself. So
in any other context, this would make you a terrible person. But in this context, let's pull away. So let's see here. I'm going to make this.
I mean, you can use one of his traits in the difficulty dice pool because it's still someone.
Or like his catalyst die.
Oh, true. Yeah. So I will. His freshly stepped up D10.
Yep.
I'm going to toss in here, and then I'm going to make this. On one hand, I want to make this tough, but on the other hand, I want this to be very cool. Yeah, we're going to make this tough. We're going to see what happens. So this is going to be 2 D10s for a difficulty, because this is literally you concluding a fight with flying armor, and then out of the corner of your eye seeing this sealed container of soup slowly leaving his hand.
I've got stress too, so you have to put that stress into the difficulty because
you do. Your D8 of stress.
D8 of stress, so that'll have to also go in. So I'm up against like what, 3D10 plus 8 D8.
Yeah, I can't wait to blow this. Here we go.
I can't wait for you to blow it either. Oh no. Well, that's not so bad. I could probably do that.
That's not terrible. I'm just excited that I didn't.
I figured out
50 hitches.
While everybody else was having fun with odd-looking children and joking ladies of importance, I figured out how to make my dice pool work. So I'm very proud of myself.
Before you start gathering, Kim, I have a question.
Yeah.
Let's say me as the narrator, just for the sake of argument, really loved the fact that one of my players was like, I want to hit that bowl of soup, like Babe Ruth, and I wanted to award you a plot point for great role playing. Would I give it to you now so you could use it for this, or would I give it to you after this concludes?
I would say that is completely up to you, my man.
I'm going to give it to you after it concludes, I think. Not because I'm being a jerk, but I want to see how cool it gets.
All right.
But you got one coming.
That's good. I'm glad that you're allowing me to do that. I do have a plot point, so I'm able to use that at some point, but I don't want to take more stress. I don't like being hurt. It's not good. So here's me dragging my D10 into my pool in the way that I now figured out how to work it. There we go. I'm so smart.
Perfect.
This is going to be, I think this is agility. This is not strength anymore. This is me flipping it with agility. I was contemplating it being awareness because I'm trying to sort of do the spatial geometry aspect of it, you know what I mean? But they're the same die, and it's probably me being elfy. So I'm gonna do that.
Mellie is so out by this, we walked her.
This is still about my
really
sister.
into the RP prone on
Yeah,
the
this
ground.
is still about my sister, but now I'm kind of showing off. So I'm gonna make it glory. I want him to remember who he's facing. Because I have to remember that Babacar, while he is a very devoted brother, is not that devoted. His devotion is D6. I mean, honestly, it's very cool that his sister helps him along his road to fame.
He's got other siblings, whatever.
He's got other, probably about 9. Yeah. Anyway, so that's the glory D10. this is not a simplicity is the best solution thing. This is quite this is hot-headed fire mage now, I think.
Yeah.
Or no, I'll go Sunfire Elf. This is actually Sunfire Elf. It's because of the agility and everything else. It's an elf thing to do. So that's what I'm doing there. It is neither crafting nor is it sun magic, so I don't get a specialty, and it is not a spell, so I don't get an asset, but I do get my D10 I've already added in it for the staff. So, what I'm going to do though is I'm going to add D8 angry stress in order to step up both my agility and strength for the duration of any test, contest, or challenge, which is my heat being. So as I swing it down and connecting with the bowl of soup, my arms and my face and everything go just midnight black, and all the lava lines come up, and I'm getting really mad, and my heat being activates.
You're like reheating the soup.
Yeah, that's right. And channeling it down to the staff to make it a really hot bit of soup. Take that, Nozzix. All right, if I roll this and it's bad, I'm gonna be upset. So we'll see.
This is a microwave safe container.
I will step up my agility by 1. So you think you've got 3d10 plus d8? Well, so do I. All right, I'll roll. Is that good? That's good.
That's
That's
real
real
good.
good.
17. And a
Success
D10
deck,
effect.
right?
D10 effect. Is that a heroic success?
Because there was a
It
12.
was 12. Yeah.
D12 stress then.
All right. So, will you describe sort of exactly how this happens? Showing off, you know, this is Gnostic's the Glory Hog, and as you're doing it, I'm going to briefly turn off my camera so that it'll autofocus, and then it'll come back. There's my cat. Still not quite there, but okay. I think I just ruined things for Will. Sorry about that, William. Okay, describe how this happens for me, Cam.
All right, what happens is I swing the staff around, connects with the bottom of the staff and hits the soup. As that's happening, as I was moving around, as I said before, I flare up. The heat being takes place, and when I collide with it, there's a scalding noise of it just being heated up, and it arcs right across the room, and doesn't actually strike him necessarily as a bowl, but it empties its hot, scalding contents along the back of Nozzix and on his armor and everything he's trying to push down and carry up. So his hands and his face and the armor itself are covered in soup.
Oh yeah, this is so good. Okay, so the bowl hits Nozzix, who is also going to take it was a D12?
D12 stress, and I want to make that. I think I want to make that injured. I'm not really into the idea of wearing him out or making him mad. I'm kind of
it
like
makes
that.
sense. You're Harvey Denting him. So it definitely makes sense to me.
I do want to yell out something when I do it, and I'll just say, "Soup's on, Nozzix."
Ha! Sorry.
Oh, Cam, you're such a jerk. Let me make my note. So, D12 injury. Soup's on Nozzix. You earned yourself a plot point. If you hadn't already, you just earned it for that. You jerk. So this soup, Vanetta, you're like struggling, and this crazed man is holding you down. You almost like feel like the drool and this is gross. And all of a sudden, just he's hit. Somehow it just masterfully doesn't really get on you, but all of a sudden he's just goes from like pinning you down to just screaming in pain. And all of a sudden, Nozzix rolls off of you completely. The armor and whatever sort of state of being attached to you. That's up to you. But he rolls off of you. All of a sudden, he's clutching his face and his arm, and he's just, oh my face, and he looks out, and you kind of see these like burn marks from the scalding hot soup under the coffee. My microphone doesn't work well when I cover my mouth with my hand, but you guys get it. He's down in the corner. Vanessa, you are free.
Yeah, I'm gonna like scramble backwards, slowly kind of getting myself to my feet. And the armors, they've been taken care of, right? They went into the fire.
Mm-hmm.
Necrix is kind of mesmerized by his poor father. I think I'm gonna draw my sword and kind of collect myself and then step towards Nosix and say, "Stop this. You have to stop this, Nosix. Do you understand? You are going to die if you keep this up."
There's a moment, he's sort of like struggling and like wrestling with the pain of this, and eventually your words kind of get through, and he just says, "Stop. I've done too much to stop. I have come too far to stop. And you and the rest of your thief friends can't stop me. You can't stop this."
Okay, I want to try to knock him unconscious.
Okay, as this is happening, he's sort of like starting to stand up. Let's start a little contest.
Yeah. So my goal is to knock him out, butt of my blade. I'm just rolling all strength through Vanessa in all my rolls, just going full jock. But this is gonna be my justice. My great might is defense, not destruction. He seems like a big threat to everybody on this island. It's gonna be my Knight of Luxaria. And this is gonna be my sun-forged blade in here. And I think that is what I've got going on. Let's go and do this. Roll better this time. Boop, boop, boop. All right. Take it.
Okay, 13?
Yeah, 10.
10, sorry, thank you.
Yeah, 10 with the D10 effect die, and I'm going to
My
leave
eyes
it
are
at
what
that.
they were.
What are dice and the numbers?
What even is, do you know who I is? Head Tights, sorry, moving on. Thank you. Okay, so let's get Nosix pulled together with...
Oh, I forgot to add his stress. Whoops. Also, I have stress, though, so a D10 injured.
Oh, perfect. And also, with this situation, thank you so much for reminding us that we needed to step up his catalyst die, which is a D10. I'm going to add your D10 injury to this pool. And then let's see here. How are we going to do this? So this is Nosix as the keeper of the primal well in all his glory. So that's one of his distinctions. So that is a D8. This is, let's see here. His values. This is about justice. I see the greater good and the sacrifices needed with brutal clarity. He sees it more clearly than ever right now. And this is the first true moment, I think, that anyone has actually tried to stop it. So I'm going to add that D8.
You really are ruining things for everybody, aren't we?
No, absolutely. You guys really
He
was just a sweet old man freezing people.
Yeah, he hurt nobody ever in his
he's,
life.
He's nice. I'm going to add sky magic to this because things are about to get very real. And then Cam, some direction from you. He has a signature asset, this necklace of warning.
Yeah.
I don't see a description for like what the necklace does. Is it literally a necklace of warning? Like
I have kind of a suggestion.
a Spidey sense necklace?
Yeah, when we put this together, I think Dan was intending it for it to be kind of like a almost a defensive thing along the way of that sort of extra Spidey
Perfect.
sense. But
Oh,
I mean,
good. Okay.
yeah, I think
Well,
that
Yeah,
fits.
and this strike is kind of like trying to come as a surprise, like just sudden.
Yeah. So yeah, his Gnostic sense is tingling, thanks to his amulet. Let's roll this pool and oh, come on.
But still,
So okay, so a 14, so it still takes it. Does roll one hitch that at this point. So Mellie, whatever you want to do with that hitch,
Yeah,
buy it.
I'm going to buy that hitch.
Okay.
So that's a plot point. That's going to step down my injured stress once as I'm kind of like starting to kind of come to after getting my head knocked on the ground, kind of getting my senses back to me standing up.
Great.
I'm not giving in at this point. I definitely want to
you can be the
get this
14.
guy
Come
out.
on.
Yeah. Plus, this time I will remember that I've got a D12 for his stress. Put that in my pool. So yeah, he's kind of coming back at me as I'm trying to kind of overpower him.
Right. Yeah. So
And he's got this like magic starting to go on. I think I'm gonna change to my spirit instead of my strength now.
right.
Just
Yeah.
like trying to win this.
There's this
battle
moment
of-
you take that first swing and there's this. It's very alarming. Like he takes his hand away from his face, swats away this melee attack almost. Whether it's luck or whether he's a lot stronger than you realize, you're not sure. But it also just reveals he now has just this hot soup scarred patch, just pure anime villain across his eye, and across his he's got his nice little tunic, but there's scarring. There's scald from the hot soup down his arm as well. Go ahead. Just
Okay,
something
cool,
horrifying.
gross. Very gross. I love it. Putting my justice back in there. I think this is still just going to be my Knight of Luxaria. Just trying to kind of keep with that. My Sunforged Blade. All right, I kind of like that pool of dice. Let's go for it. Yeah.
Oh,
Why the hitches, though?
but look at that number.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful number. I'm very happy
Oh.
about that. That's delicious.
It's gonna be tough to beat that one.
Are you activating those hitches?
Yes.
What
So
kind of stress
if
you
you
giving?
do give her a plot point, Joe, you could step her stress back up again by 2 steps.
Let me add a D12 also.
Very epic.
Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. So that SWAT, like it's hard, like it's a lot more than you were expecting. You get the sense that there was maybe a little bit of magical force behind it, and it just completely like almost like shakes you back up. You know, that bit of whiplash you had from hitting
Yeah.
the back of your head kicks back up, and we're gonna step that injury to a D12. Perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop that in first. I'm going to drop in Gnostics.
He's not going to give in. He's not going to let me knock him out.
Yep. Nope. He's come too far and hurt too many people.
I think you just rang your Kinwa bell, though.
Say again?
You just rang your Kinwa bell.
Ah,
Oh, God. So we're going to go with his sort of keeper of the primal well again here. Let's see your values. Do I want to trade one of these up for funsies? Let's see here. I'm going to go with his devotion, which has been stepped up to a D8. And I'll tell you why, because as this is going on, he's almost ignoring you, Vanetta, because Necrex is now demanding why. What is this? What have you done to my dad?
The drama.
And Gnostics is almost just directly addressing Necrex, like, while this is going on. So it's even cooler because he's barely looking at you. So he he's just saying, your father understood what needed to be done. And he's like, you said you saw my dad fall off the island.
Oh no!
Holy crow.
Wow.
And it's just like, stupid child. Do you think anyone wanted to elect you a protector? You're a fool. This was to placate you. This was because I felt guilty. I see now I was weak. So if that's why that's happening, I'm going to throw his sky magic back in there as he monologues. I wish monologuing was an asset for him. I'm not.
You can spend a plot point, make a temporary asset for monologuing.
Oh, God, I could.
Good. D6.
Yeah. He gets a D6 monologuing. Yeah, this is like the last minute of the episode before the to be continued asset. So we are absolutely going to roll that. No, it's not great.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh.
It goes very poorly.
So
he is lost.
And I'm gonna be able to step up his injured stress. He's taken out, so I get what I want here.
Yep.
And I just, as I'm kind of trying to overpower him and kind of get this last kind of blast, I want to like kind of activate my Sunfire Elf skin, and so I just get boiling hot and I grab his wrist that he's kind of like trying to keep me away with, and just like look him in the eyes and say, "You're right about one thing, Nussix." And I just hit him over the head, falls to the floor. I say, "You are weak."
Oh, very good.
We cut to
when do we feel the island hit the mountain? By the way, I've been waiting for that.
Oh yeah, wait. Sorry. Let me back up. Sorry, it already hit for Eljal. I was gonna do it there. So yeah, you say you were right about one thing. You were weak. Nossix hits the ground. Necrex runs to this frozen form of his dad. And he's just like, Dad. And he's like just looking pleadingly at these two Sunfire elves whose powers he doesn't quite understand. And he's just like, fix this. And as he's begging for help, Nossix is on the ground. The two of you sort of cross to meet each other in the center of the room.
Hug.
There's a giant lurch as the siblings embrace, almost timed perfectly as the island.
We're both on heat being still.
Yeah, there's all this steam as your hot bods.
And just as
you're literally
as just a moment of bookkeeping too, I've got an SFX I'm going to activate. That I spend a PP after I win a contest with a foe. I step down all my stress dice. So.
Yep. Okay, sweet, perfect. And his catalyst die has also stepped down as a result of this fight. So his catalyst die stepped back down to normal. Do I need to adjust any of his values after he loses, or just his catalyst die, Cam?
Yeah, so one of the things that, and this is part of the playtest to see if this actually works out well or not, but we're trying to do it so that if you lose it, the player who did it can choose a value to step down, and then you may choose one to step up to even it out.
Okay, perfect. So Mellie, keep it coming. Which of his values should step down? Devotion?
I think we should step down justice.
Okay, so his justice steps down to a D6.
Yeah, but something else has got to go up.
Yeah.
That's the choice you get to make as narrator, though.
Right. And I'm going to step up. So here's what's happening, I think, now with Nossix. He's no longer lying to himself about the greater good and protecting the city. And I'm going to step up his mastery to a D10. To know a power is to control the future. He's starting to realize that this is all about him after all. So his mastery steps up to a D10. His catalyst steps back to normal. And as now our timelines have caught up to each other, as the city is beginning to crumble under the force of the mountain, mages gathering on the surface around Alana and Winda staring at this completely out of her element human, waiting for orders. Eljal and Feathershaw standing, the door open now to the entrance, seeing the primal well for the first time. And much closer than they might realize, the Sunfire siblings and Necrex standing on the other side of the chamber, almost directly across from them. That is where we will leave our Tale of Xadia until next week.
That was so fun.
Oh,
Good, you
we are
guys.
alive.
I know.
That we had some good stuff happening there.
We were lucky. Some of the dice rolls that you were giving us were like pretty lousy. But then I think
Well, save that for yourself. I did get up to a D12 injured. I was almost taken out.
you got that 21 though, Mellie. That was
I
a
did.
really
That's
cool.
true.
And I was just laughing at Alana and Winda's whole nonsense where that we just can't make up our mind who's doing it.
Imagine like
Yeah.
everybody just standing there, like there's panic, but also we're just waiting to hear what they're gonna say as they're whispering to each other.
Well,
It's a lot of hand gestures.
I promised on Twitter today that I would destroy everything everyone loved in the game so far. I didn't quite get there, but there's always next week, starting with Wiggy Eljal.
What?
You and that chicken are doomed.
Yes.
Oh, no.
But we will see all of you next week here on Fandom Tabletop, playing Tales of Xadia on Roll and Keep. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves.
Thank you.